guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're changing up a little bit of what we're doing. We've got Mr. Glenn's car in here, and his car happens to be a 1980 big block C3 Corvette, and it's got a 427 swapped into it there. Get a good look-see here. So there's a lot going on in here. And so this car is getting Flaming River rack and pinion power steering upgrade. And so what I'm going to do is get the car all the way up, and I'll show you guys what goes along with that swap. And we should have this thing driving like a new car really soon. All right, let's get down in this box and see what's going on. Looks like we've got the rack and pinion system down here. Well packed. Really nice unit. All steel braided lines. And everything's got the ends which are already set up and ready to go. Looks like it has joints, everything goes right in there. This is, I know from doing these previously, this is like the support bracket that holds it in place, that mounts to the body. And then that'll hold your shaft, which I think you have to cut the length, but this might be the right length coming off the bat. Here's the mounting bolts that will go through the bracket right here and mount it to the frame with all the washers and hardware needed for that. And then I forget what they call this, a double D joint that goes in the end of the shaft there, and then it's splined to go into your steering rack. So this stuff all looks amazing, and then obviously detailed directions. Looks like it's got pictures of everything and how it all goes together. So it's all pictures and stuff like that, so that's good. We'll probably use that a little bit. So everything's packed real nice and neat in here. Got your inner tie rods. And then I believe you reuse your factory tie rods. So that's cool. Let's crawl into there real quick and I'll show you what we're replacing, because there's a lot. There's a lot of joints in here. It's gonna really stiffen the car up and give it like a new car feel. So yeah, let's crawl into there real quick, get a flashlight, and I'll show you all the stuff replaced. It's well worth it. So we were underneath the car, and you can see here that there's a lot going on. So replacing basically everything, we're keeping the outer tie rods and all these joints, all this crap, and the steering box right there is getting replaced. So first thing we're gonna do is drop the pitman arm. Well, first thing we're gonna do is take a measurement and get our number from the Zurich fitting here to the one on this side, and that's our total length for the rack when we put it in, and it'll kind of get us in the ballpark. And then basically we're gonna take it off right here, and we're gonna take it off right there and just drop the whole system, a couple power steering lines. But what this does is it eliminates, I think, like 6 joints. So let's nasty old junk. So that's out. Now we got to get, might not even need to take the pitman arm out. I might just be able to go up top, pop the steering shaft off. I believe there's 2, maybe 3 bolts that hold that steering box in place. And then as long as the headers aren't in the way, which would be nice, I might be able to snake that out. Nah, it ain't gonna work. Yeah, let me go up top and see what it looks like up there, and then if I think I can stake it out, we'll do that, and I'll just leave this pitman arm on. Why even battle that? Why even have that fight with that thing when we don't even need to worry about it? And just like that magic, everything is out. I was able to pull this out without pulling the header, but you can see the marks on the pitman arm. It was a battle. I think I had hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of just beating that thing to death, trying to get that stupid arm to separate enough where I could put the pitman arm puller on it. And then after that, we were able to undo these 3 bolts right here, and then you can see where the header is, and then from the top I was able to maneuver it up and around and lift it out. That's done. And then I cleaned everything up real good, put all the tools away, and now we are on the assembly part of the rack. And then you can see those bolts I just showed you. That's what's going to happen here. So where these 3 bolts are right here, and this 4th one, that's where it's going to mount right here. So there's one here, one here, and one here. It's going to mount on around it like this. So we're going to mock this up, and hopefully that this stuff is all nice and squared up. Hope that one's all nice and squared up, because I've done this before to a car. Same the Vette we had prior to this. I had to spend, who knows if they Dukes of Hazzard the car. Or it was just, it's a 45-year-old car. Who knows who's driven it over potholes and jumped it over, curbs and whatever else I've done over those 45 years. Hopefully it all just lines up. So wish me luck that I can just lift it up in there, slide a bolt in, and everything kind of just does its thing. If not, you're going to see me cussing, hammering. We're going to get probably 10 more pounds of Oklahoma dust and dirt on the floor, because there is a ton of it on this car right now. Probably should have power washed all this crap off before I did this. But regardless, we're here, so let's crawl up underneath there and see if this thing fits. Oh yeah, that, and there's a big block in there, which is designed for a small block 350. So what I did is I took 2 of these of the bolts in the installation kit, and I've got one right here already through, and I've got one right here kind of loosened through. What I'm hoping I can do is just pick this thing up and set it up in there, and just use my finger and slide the bolt through. So what I do is pull the bolts out and just hope it fits in there. And then I'm just going to set it up in there, see if it's even close, and if so, set it back down. I want to clean this oil pan. It's got crud all over it, and just want to make sure it's nice and pretty. That way when I give it back, it's not much better than it was when I got it. Alright, let's see here. Not too sure about this motor. So this kit is designed for a small block, 350 Chevy small block, and the person that built this and put this in before we bought it, they blew the whole front of the car apart and they put big block. And so the header is kind of, it's aiming right at, or the output of the shaft is aiming right at one of the headers. So we might have to loosen the rack and clock it upwards. And then in doing that, I might have to trim the motor mount a little bit where the bracket is, so it goes straight up and right into the steering rack. But what we'll do is we'll try and, let me wipe all this down and get it clean. And but I think it's going to go up in there, and then from that point, I don't know what it's going to do. Let me clean that real quick, and then I'll bring you guys in and show you what's going on. All right, you can kind of see. Let me get my light adjusted here. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So like, see all these little pieces of, this is all weld, splattered weld. See, there's like just extra weld. So I'm going to grind all that down. So that way it's nice and smooth. You see, some of it's coming off, but I'm just going to, okay, maybe it's all going to come off. That's better, but there's still weld here. And on the other side, it's a lot worse. You can see, so that's where the bolt goes through right there. And so like there's a big chunk of weld right here. There's a whole bunch of stuff that needs, I'm just gonna sand this all down. Like there's a big old piece of weld right there. And just make sure this is all nice and smooth. That way it slides up in there a little bit easier. And then if I just put a little dab of paint on there, that's fine. But then looking at this side again, so you can see right here, there's the 2 bolts. There's one there, and one here. And so that's a little small bolt, that's a big one. And then if you see the shape, that's how it fits in. And I think I'm gonna have to trim that little piece off right there, just cut that off. Because when I put it in the first time, the only time, it was touching right up against the header, you can see right there. And so I think with the header right here, we'll have to cut it just like that on that bracket. But I'm gonna fit it up in there one more time because I was able to push it up in there. And then once I get it in there, I'll show you guys because you're gonna see the header, it's gonna be jammed up against there. So we'll have to just probably trim that down. And it shouldn't make a difference as far as structure goes. I mean, it's just a little excess metal, probably take an inch. I just basically take it off like right here like that. We'll draw a line, try to make it as pretty as we can. So hopefully the camera stays where it's at. Got you guys locked in and you can see that booger right there. That's the first one that's stopping us. There's another one right here. So I'm gonna do the hard side first. I didn't loosen it yet as far as the bracket part goes. I just wanted to see how this fits. So this side goes up pretty good. This side, the header's in the way. I think if I get past it.
A few moments later.
Stuck on the header. Attempt number 3. That's a lot easier. Oh shit, I know it's almost my head. That's alright, I got a persuasion tool. Let's give that a try. Alright, so I've got a contraption here. I got that one bolt in on that side, this side. It's not. It's kind of just sitting in there, so you can see what I've got going on here. So it's really close, and you can see like where I was talking about where the header. I'm gonna have to maybe jam it up in there and see what happens. And then the other problem is this is going straight into the header. Now that's somewhat adjustable, but I'm not sure. We might be able to adjust it the other direction, but we might have to notch the motor mount right here just enough to get that to go high enough to where it'll reach to right here, which is the steering. So, yeah, not looking good right now, but we'll see. I'm gonna fiddle with it a little bit longer and see if I can't get it at least sitting in there on its own. All right, so I've got the rack in there loosely, and I mean loose, but it's in there tight. But I've got all the bolts in, and they're just in, and that's it. They're not tightened down, but it's kind of wedged in there. So at least they're all in. So that's where it's gonna stay. And then here's the problem I was talking about. As you can see right here, so I can't even get my finger in there, but I loosened the adjustment bolts. So I can literally just pry this up. But the problem is that, let me just see if I can push it. There we go. So now that's all the way up. And so it still looks like it's gonna hit, and I have to put this 3/4 double D, if you guys can see that, but this is a pretty big daddy. So I've got to put this guy on here. It only goes from this hole to right here, and there's a locking bolt that goes in there and locks on that little flat surface and keeps it all in place. So I'm thinking I might get lucky. I'm gonna notch this mount right here, like around like that, and then push it up further. But I still think I'm gonna have to dent the crap out of that header. But what I wanna do is notch it up enough to slip this guy on, and then see how much space I have or don't have after I do that. Another thing is I'm just now seeing the lines have to go here too. So I might have to do some more than I think as far as fabricating that to fit in here, but I think it can be done. I mean, I know it can be done. It's just, I got to think of the best and most efficient plan to get that sucker in there. As far as that goes, I'm gonna call it a night, like almost 1 o'clock or 12:30, and I'm pretty beat. So come out here tomorrow, get back on it again, and see. Oh, excuse me. See if I can't get this all figured out and get this sucker knocked out. See you in the morning. Good morning. Just kidding. It's not the morning. It's the afternoon sometime. We are back on the vet. Let's get our peepers in here. I've already pulled it's the steering rack. I slid it down a little bit, and I kind of made a rough mark of where I was going to chop out the metal, or at least figure out some way of getting it so that the shaft can get up a little further so that it'll clear the header. It's pretty much what we're about to do. We're just going to cut that piece of metal out and then shove it back in there and see if it fits. So guess what? It's now morning, and everything just spiraled out of control. I've got the header off. I've got the part cut out. I got the exhaust sitting over here. It was full of rust, and there's a weird muffler inside there that sucks. That's falling apart. And I've got the header over here. And what I ended up doing is cutting the section of the header out, and I'm filling it in right now. It's hot. I don't want to touch it because the welder's running. Cut this piece around right here, and then fit a piece in that's this less hump that kind of goes up and up like that. And then hopefully I'm gonna tack the next piece in, because this piece I think I'm almost 90% sure is perfect, according to the piece that I was banging in earlier. And I was heating it and smacking it, and it was just an awkward position because it was in the car, and it turned into that. And then finally I had the air hammer. I was like heating it and massaging it real light, and it blew through it. Dumbass! Right there. So that basically made me take it out because I can make it a lot nicer like this. So the whole day, this thing's been kicking my butt. And so yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the morning? 1:35. So I got that piece set. I'm gonna let it cool off, and then I'm gonna come back tomorrow and get back on it. Hopefully tomorrow I can have it all in there, mocked up, fitting. And just remember, this is a big block. Here's the motor. It's got a 427 in it, and this kit is designed for a 350 small block. So this motor's in a little bit different position. I think if it didn't have the side pipes on it, it might fit with a little more persuasion. So anyway, all that being said, we're deep into it now. So next time you see me, hopefully I'll be excited about doing this, and I'll be cutting the piece out and fitting that up and getting it set up the way we need to. Next day, and I'm a much happier person right now, only because I just tossed the header in real quick, and I just got 3 bolts, one on each side, holding it in, got it nice and flat, so that looks good. And then I took this piece, because it has to get cut down, and this is going to be the connection between the joints, and you can see right here, this is the joint that goes, and there's a flat spot, so I just cleaned all the rust and debris off of that and hit it with a brush. And then so that bad boy is gonna go down to that guy right there, and so that's where they're gonna connect there. And where I cut the header out, you can see right there. And so that once I lift the rack up, that knuckle or U-joint is gonna be like right in the middle of that. And so then what I'm gonna do is kind of lift it up, bolt it in, and then see how much space I have. Oh, and I'm gonna make the bolt holes a little bit, just to round them out a little bit, so I have a little more leeway in there for getting the bolts in, so it's not so hard, because it's a super tight fit. So yeah, let me get up in the air. I'll set the camera up real quick, show you underneath there, or we'll crawl up underneath there real quick together, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, we are under the car, got the header on, and you can see where I cut it out, right? And that's the little piece I added in. And then I've got a mark right here where I can come in and slowly taper it down and go flat, and then go back up, and I'll shave some of that out to get better airflow. And I think even though I put that piece in, I might give that one little smack with a hammer. I'll just measure it and see if I can get a few more millimeters. I think it's gonna clear, but I wanna make sure. And then it's hard to see, but what I did is I used a pencil and cut it down to size. And then I'm gonna take that measurement, because I was able to slide that in, and it's all the way back on both sides with some adjustment. And then I'm gonna take that out, and this is where I thought I was gonna be, and I haven't cut it yet, but I think I'm gonna end up taking about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch shorter than that. And so, but yeah, so I just had an extra pencil that worked out perfect. So now that I've got that set up, I'm gonna see if I can pull the header out with it installed the way it is. And if the header comes out, that's a bonus. Yeah, let me toss those bolts in real quick, and as long as those 2 bolts go in, then this thing is in its permanent spot. We're not gonna tighten it all down. It's gonna be in there loose, but just with a couple of millimeters of movement. We'll lock it in place once we get this piece cut. If the header goes in and out, then we'll cut this piece according to the pencil length and then put it all back together. Got this kind of mocked up in here. I don't have the header in, but I need to put these little deals that lock it in place. I don't know where the hell I put them. Oh, here they are. They're in here, or at least I know one of them is. These little deals with the Allen heads, and then they have the little, they're pointed to lock them in. So I need to tighten this one, and it looks like one goes here, one goes here, one goes here, and one goes up here. This one is already in. That'll keep it from sliding out. This is kind of locked in already. This is all loose, and this stuff's kind of in there. And so I've got to put all these in and make indentions, and then I gotta pull it all out. And then I gotta drill and make like a little indention in here, so this has a place to lock in to keep this stuff from coming loose. So let me put these guys in, see if the header slides up in, check all that stuff out, make sure the steering wheel is where it needs to be, and yeah, we'll just kind of get everything. But it's all loosely mocked up right now, so everything, it's gonna still have to all come apart, because I still have to put the indentions with the drill bit in here to lock it in place. But I'm feeling pretty good about it. So hopefully everything with that does what it's supposed to, and I will be a happy, happy person, because I'll be closer to being done with this particular part of this car. Next day, again, I ended up fumbling with this thing until almost 5 o'clock in the morning. You can see my mess under there. I haven't gone under there yet, but we got a lot accomplished. We ended up having to take the rack in and out. God, my arms are sore, actually. I did it so many times yesterday because we did have some fitment issues. Not with the header. I haven't even got that far yet. That already looked like it was gonna fit. Everything is in. All the bolts are snug on this. This side, I got to tighten the one upper bolt on that side. Everything is in and in its permanent location. But when I put the lines on, I had to notch a little section there. All right, they're coming to check on me because they heard me talking. They thought somebody was out here that could give them treats and pets. But it's just me, guys. I'm just talking to everybody. Say hi. Yeah, see, nobody's here to pet you. All right, everything looks safe. It's all good. Go protect the house. See you later. Hey, don't forget your sister. No. All right. Puppies are crazy. Okay. So now that we've got the peanut gallery done, worried about me being out here doing something without their knowledge. So this is all tight, and I got to pull these little deals out that I made the notches for and put Loctite on them. So I've got the Loctite right there. We're gonna Loctite all that stuff, and then we're gonna tighten this guy down. But that was another thing, is that this, I can move this up and down. I have it kind of locked in place, and then I gotta tighten down the little screws that allow you to adjust the rack forward and backwards. And for us to get it to fit with these headers and everything, this is where it has to be. And I'm pretty sure the header's gonna go right in. God, I hope it does, because this has been a complete pain in the butt. The system is designed for a small block, not a big block. So everything's kind of been changed around. And so kind of knew what we were getting into when we did this, but luckily we can fabricate things and make it all work. So let's get everything locked in and then see if this header fits. Sorry to skip ahead, but we're in a hurry because Glenn's here. It is, what, 3 in the morning?
3:25.
3:25 in the morning, again. Although yesterday it was like 5. Everything's back together. I had to do a little bit more grinding down the bottom here. You can see right there. Other than that, I had to fight that header. I had to bang that a few more times to get everything back together. So everything is back together. I put new plugs in it. I figured it's just changing plugs. Nothing special about that for you guys to see. Everything is done. Besides, we just got to put a little bit of power steering fluid in it. It goes in down here, and then we're going to fire it up, and I'm going to give him the bottle of fluid to take with him, and he's going to have to fill it up on the way home.
Bye, Felicia.
So that we don't wake the neighbors up, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and this thing is a mega loud car. So let me go grab the power steering fluid, because it's inside Average Joe out in the street right now, and we'll do a start up and back out, and that should be the end. But we'll get to that in a minute. There you go. And to any of my neighbors that are watching, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm really sorry. I am. He's got to take the car because he's heading out of town. He's supposed to leave an hour ago because he's driving to go see one of his kids. But he wanted to take the car with him. Not to drive there, but to get it home. So I am 100% sorry. That being said, I'm extremely exhausted right now. It is 3:48 in the morning. I just had that Biggie song come to my head. Who the F is this calling me at 3:46 in the morning, crack of dawn, and got me yawning?
You sure about that?
Anyway, thank you guys if you're with me so far at this point. And I'm going to go in, take a shower, eat some Taco Bell I have left over, and crash out. Thank you. Please subscribe. TexasRacingChannel.com for all really good merchandise. And we'll see you on the next one.
Okay, we'll catch you next time.